Do you still have Deshaun Watson with a second-round grade?
No, he's my top quarterback.
Okay.
So he's my.
So he has a first-round grade.
He's my
still?
27th overall player. So when people always ask me, like, is this a first-round grade? If you're one of my top 32 players,
yes,
it's a first-round grade.
So obviously, we could talk about the makeup and the character of somebody. When it all comes down to it, we're talking about wins and losses, which is why people who have poor character are still considered first-round draft choices. Yeah. All that said, I just heard what makes Deshaun Watson up. Mm-hmm. And that to me, as a guy who's looking for a franchise quarterback, who's trying to put their foot in the ground and try and pivot finally from being in the business of constantly finding somebody, why not him? Why is he not considered a surefire top 5, if not top pick in this draft?
Sure. To me, when I evaluate quarterbacks, the 3 most important factors you look at, to me, is poise, which Deshaun Watson absolutely has. You
Check
can watch
that
him
box.
play. Check that box.
Yes.
But the next 2 are accuracy and decision-making. So if you were going to go on a scale of 1 to 5, accuracy and decision-making, I'd put him probably at a 3+ on both of those marks. So, you're talking about taking a guy that high. You're talking about wanting a guy that's a little more accurate than he is and protect the football a little bit more than he has. I mean, that's the reason why I don't think we'll see him go right there at the top.
But didn't Matt Ryan have a ton of interceptions in his final year at Boston College?
Matt Ryan, yeah, he did. Matt Ryan was playing at Boston College, but I don't know if he had an NFL player on his team, on that offense. You look at this Clemson offense, this guy's surrounded by a lot of impressive guys, and you go back and the negative side of it is you go look at Taj Boyd and his statistics and what he compiled, surrounded by all these great players in this system. Mm-hmm. That was a team that was winning 10+ games every year. You look at his stats, they line up pretty close alongside Deshaun Watson, and we know, he didn't have an NFL career. So you can't always just take the team success and the statistical success and translate that to the next level.
Where do you think Deshaun Watson is going to be selected next Thursday?
He's the hardest one for me to pin down. Because when you hear about Trubisky gets a lot of buzz when you talk about specific teams.
Yes.
The team that I've maintained, I think that makes some sense. I don't think they'll do it is the Chargers, just because you've got a situation for him to sit behind Phillip Rivers for a couple years. I think that makes a lot of sense. They're going to enter into that new stadium, 2019, and you'd have him ready to roll at that point in time. But I don't think the Chargers are going to do it. So when I try and find a specific team, Buffalo could be potentially
at
one.
10.
But then you hear them mentioned more with Trubisky. You hear the Browns at 12 maybe trading up, and that's Trubisky. So you just don't hear his name associated with the individual teams. The Cardinals, you keep hearing Mahomes.
Yes.
So just trying to match him up is difficult.
We've got Patrick Mahomes calling into the show later on. Tell me about him and why he shoots up draft boards.
You're talking about somebody that has the physical tools are off the charts. You want to talk about the size and the arm strength, it's elite. What is
his size? Just what?
He's about 6'3", just under 6'3", but he is a thick, broad-shouldered, strong kid. To me, he looks like Donovan McNabb. When you watch him physically move around and just how he throws the football, that's who I see a lot of. Now, he plays outside the structure of that offense almost exclusively.
Right.
And I don't, the challenge for me is I can't go back unless you talk about Brett Favre, who's a unicorn, guys that have had that type of success, outside the play call, and that's what he does. So he's going to have to rein all that stuff in. He's got raw footwork. But teams are going to fall in love with the arm strength. And I had a chance to visit with him last week, and I think you'll enjoy it, Rich, because this kid's got a presence about him. He's got a great energy. I asked him, I said, hey, I just went back and watched the TCU game this morning. And you're going down, there's a minute left, you threw a touchdown plus. What was the play call? What were you seeing? He spits out the play call. I had a pop pass. They covered up the tight end, so I hit the drag behind him. I go, okay, you go to overtime, you ran a touchdown in from 20 yards. Yeah, they were in two-man, so I knew as a quarterback you're in two-man, you have an option to take off and run. There was some room. Yeah, the recall was there. So intelligence and tools, you got a good thing to work with.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.